While you ride, always be scanning the water and check your 6 o'clock behind you. Anticipate what the other guy is going to do. Learn to think in front of your ship. Expect him to do the wrong thing, and many times you won't be disappointed. Maneuver so the rider sees you. Make a course change to show him what you're doing. Never approach someone from behind too closely who doesn't know you are there. He can turn in front of you or perform a J-turn in front of you that would bring his craft to a stop. Never get close to a rider in his 6 o'clock without him knowing you are there. This is the reason we always make a 45-degree turn to look back before we perform a maneuver. You cannot expect to correctly react to a collision scenario unless you physically practice. You can read about it, see placards, and hear people discuss the response, but it will do no good. Conditioned response only comes from learned physical behavior. This is the reason we have set up a training that will get you as close to that important decision as we can.
Ever since I was a small child, I've been running boats. Right now I'm 100-ton master captain. This means I can run a boat up to 100 tons. I've ridden boats from 10-foot skiff outboards all the way to 100-foot boats with 4 motors in them. None of that has prepared me for the way this vehicle reacts on the water. This craft works by sucking water in the intake here, which is in the back of the boat in the center. Sucks it into the motor compresses the water and shoots it out this nozzle in the form of thrust, much like a jet engine. This craft is controlled by the direction of the thrust coming out of this nozzle. The handlebars up here control the direction of that nozzle. In order to move this vessel somewhere, you have to put the throttle on. By pushing on the throttle, water is sucked up in the intake through the engine and blown out the nozzle in the direction you went. So if you want to make a turn to the right, you would turn the steering wheel this way and push on the throttle, and the water would blow in that direction. The craft will move to the right. The problem here, the difference between this craft and a conventional boat, is that when you're going in one direction and you have the throttle on, once you let off that throttle, you no longer have steering. For example, you're running straight at the dock, you're 50 feet away, you have the throttle on. Your first thought was that if you just let off the throttle, you'll slow down. And when you get close to the dock, you just turn the steering wheel and you're going to turn away from the dock. Wrong. Unless you have the throttle on, this vehicle is not going to react in the way you want it to. What will happen is the boat will go in the direction of your last thrust. So you are approaching the dock straight ahead with the throttle on. You left the throttle off. You're going to go in that direction until you hit the dock, even if you turn the steering to the left to miss the dock. Because you have no throttle on, there's no thrust coming out of the nozzle. So you crash into the dock. We're going to cover some danger areas on the personal watercraft. Many of these watercrafts have unique characteristics to that individual model. You want to make sure that you look at your owner's manual and look at the different placards so you can see how the unique characteristics make your watercraft operate. First thing I'm going to cover is mounting your watercraft. You want to mount from the rear. That's the way this is designed. You grab the handle, mount the craft, go to the handlebars. The placard here shows the dangers of this nozzle right here. This nozzle at full throttle has similar thrust of a fire hose. When you're mounting the throttle, especially in the case of mounting while another rider's already on and they're giving a little throttle so they can stay buoyant, when you're coming on, you can see how this goes right into your midsection. If they put full throttle on while you're standing there, it could have serious implications to your midsection. Another danger area is the intake system, which is below here. This is a problem that if you ever ride one of these, you're going to run into. At some point in time, you might suck up a plastic bag, trash, grass, what's going to happen is it's going to restrict the flow to the motor. Therefore, the ski is going to act like it's sluggish for a little bit. You might only be able to go a third power, or you'll hear the heat buzzer go off. You instantly want to look around, see where you're at. If it's busy, get out of the way of traffic. Notice which way the wind and the current are going, and pull the lanyard once you get out of the way. That way it stops the intake from sucking water up. But it's very important. You go under the vessel while it's still on, you can easily get your shirt or your hair sucked into the bottom of the intake, and it will cause you to drown. So when you have the lanyard pulled off, the engine has quit, you go under the ski and pull all of the trash or the plastic bags out of the intake. That'll have your ski back and running again.